Good morning, everyone. My family, you all are absolutely amazing. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for all the prayers that you have done and everything. And I know by now a lot of you have gone through all of my videos. Everything is slowed down right now. Please forgive me. I'm going to try to get out a few videos in the next couple days for you. My husband was actually Monday in a really bad wreck, and amazingly, by the grace of God, he walked out with a few bruises, cuts, scrapes, lacerations, and a broken wrist. Um, it's beyond words for me, and this morning he is off to work. It's amazing how everything happened. But I want to thank you all for being so patient with me. I know I have some catching up to do. I've got work on the farm I got to catch up, and with him having a broken wrist, I got to pretty much take on a little more by myself. So I am going to try to get a couple more videos out for you. And so one of them being, I know many of you waiting for the Dijon mustard. That is one on my goal. Matter of fact, after this one, that's probably going to be the next. And another one I'm wanting to do is, with Christmas around the corner, what is best for a diabetic to have, what you would love to enjoy with natural, real foods? Because let's face it, we all know in the world of diabetic and low carb, not everything tastes good. And I'll share with you what has worked for us. Now, again, it's up to you. And same with this topic. Our topic today is about seeds. So, and many of you asked is what's best to grow for us and all. So this is what my topic today is about. Again, test your own sugars, because not every diabetic is alike, and I totally get that. I'm going through that. Another thing I will mention through this process with the healing of my husband, it's inevitable, y'all. If you are sick, if you have been, or if you have injuries, your sugars, no matter how much you're able to control it, is going to become wonky, at least for the few days of being a sickness or in an injury. My husband's sugar, even with everything that we've done to keep it in levels that have been good for him, he was up 187 was his highest. Though that is not major, it's still something to watch. So how we managed to control this basically is I made sure that he had good proteins, fish, omega-3s, green vegetables, kind of back to the basics without all the specialties, cookies and stuff like that. Anything that would boost his immune system or better for his body. And within 3 days, we managed to get his blood sugar fasting. This morning was down to 101. The day before yesterday was about 98. So it takes a few days, so just be patient with yourself and understand it's just part of your life. And so I want to be able to ensure you there's ways to get through this, and it can be frustrating, believe me. I know. So, but many of you have been asking me about what's the best thing for us to grow. I did some research, and I will tell you right off the bat, there are a few vegetables that for me, I probably won't grow. Some I would be very cautious about. The ones, and it's just a small portion, and so I'll give you what I have. Your root vegetables. These vegetables: beets, carrots, corn, onions, parsnip, peas, basically even the sweet peas like your sugar snap peas, potatoes, tomatoes, and winter squash, which is your acorn and butternut. The hardest and the worst that have their own sugars are potatoes, for one. I know we all love potatoes of any kind, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, but honestly, y'all, if you can avoid them, just avoid them. They're just not worth it. There is really no way of controlling your blood sugar counts with the potato. I've tried in many ways, and there's just no way of getting around it. Carrots. Carrots can be a tricky one. Um, I would say with the rest of these, moderation in low amounts is your best form. This goes with beets, because these do create their own sugars. And onions, now we use onions cooked or raw. The longer you cook them, and if you think about this, an onion, you can caramelize an onion. If you can do that, then you know that the caramelization, there's sugar in it. So use these to your better judgment and based by your own blood sugars. Peas, now my husband can eat peas in the raw. We'll have them in the salad, but again, he moderates them. Tomatoes, again, he can eat a raw tomato. He's eaten tomato paste and tomato sauce. The basic key to all this is no indulging. We have used turnips and it has never affected him. A lot of these parsnips, turnips, they have a good fiber source as well, so it's good to incorporate these. The two that I would basically watch the most, which are the ones that I find simply, no matter how you have it, goes straight to your blood sugar, and that is corn and potatoes. So if at all possible, I would actually try to avoid those. As far as everything else, honestly, everything that we eat has a carb, or everything we eat has its own sugar. So as far as everything else, okra, all your leafy greens are amazing. Radishes, there's just so much you can grow and not have to worry about it. So adventure into what's best for you. I have a huge selection. I'm going to get into one very important thing that most people get confused about, and I thought that this was important. Now, if you're like me, I went ahead and I already ordered all my seeds. My general rule is, especially if you're beginning, I started this homesteading 4 years ago, so I've kind of got a good amount and a good selection where I'm good for 2 years. Plus, I order heirloom seeds, so I can save a lot of my seeds to regrowing the following year. That is something I have to work on because I got convenient while I've got the packages. But when I first start, I will start 2 of every kind that I want. This way it gives me a chance for what germinated, what didn't germinate, what did well, what didn't do well, the seeds I can save and what I can't save. So start out generally with 2 packs and make a list of what your family, and here's another thing, not everybody eats the same thing as everybody else, so get what you enjoy the most. Don't worry about so much of specialty foods right now. Do your basic. Know what you want on your pantry, what your family enjoys, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what I say or anybody else says. This is about you and your family. I'm just going to give you guidelines. Now, one of the biggest problems that many people get confused on, and some don't, but I have seen a lot of this, and they get confused basically on when do I start my seeds? How do I grow this? And a lot of them will go based by your zone. Please don't do that. Vegetables are a whole new category versus a fruit trees or other various trees. Those go by your zone. And to be able to find out your first frost versus your last frost, you would go looking, and I researched my zone, which I am 8A, on a general idea. Now, this is not saying that this always works. For instance, a general idea for me, my first frost would be in March. However, I've had surprises that would take me to April. So just count this in effect, and I'm going to teach you a really good general idea that I go by after 4 years of learning this. So it'll help you understand a simpler way of not being confused in all of this is when to start your vegetables at certain seasons. So I would go online and I would search for my zone, where the general idea of my first and last frost. The first frost, when planting my spring and summer vegetables, I would take that general idea. For me, that would be in March. Count 6 to 8 weeks from that general date of when my last frost would be. This is when I would start my seedlings in the house. That would, to me, end up somewhere in February. So, and some of them, they may grow longer. So if they have a really long harvest date, I may start at the end of January or the beginning of February. I do use heat mats and I do use grow lights. My dining room table basically becomes a greenhouse within our home. So the easiest way, again, start from your first frost date, count 6 to 8 weeks to where you should start your germination. When it comes to your last frost, this one would be based on your harvest date. If you get a pack of seeds, it will have on the back of them, most generally, or if not, you can look online wherever you buy your seeds. But they have your germination, and they will have the amount of days of frost, or not frost, excuse me, your harvest. Some seeds don't always have that. They tell you how many days it takes before you can harvest. So I'll give you, like this pack right here doesn't have that. It just has my sprout days. So when it comes to my last frost for our fall vegetables, our brassicas, leafy greens, some of these like turnip greens or mustard greens, any fall crop, you would count the days of harvest. So on your last frost date, look at where your last frost date begins. Now, yeah, sorry, I'm helping you figure this out too. Where your last frost date begins, count back, such as if you have a vegetable that takes, say, 100 days to harvest, count back 100 days. So if your last frost is in October, count back 100 days, which falls basically between what, July, June. And these would be the days you would start planting your seeds. So with your first frost, you count 6 to 8 weeks from your first to start your start your seedlings or your seeds to plant for your growing season through the spring and summer. Your fall, you would start on your harvest. And I hope I'm explaining this enough for you to understand. It can be confusing, but I'm trying to simplify this. So again, I'll state it. Your first frost for your spring and summer, 6 to 8 weeks from your general. Allow a week or two for those surprise. And then on your fall, count your harvest days back from your first frost back from what the day of it takes to harvest your vegetables. So, and they do fall in two categories, but your zone has nothing to do with this. It is your first and last frost. So, I mean, over time, it'll become easier to understand all this. It'll get easier on so many different things. And again, know this, that weather is unpredictable. My last video where I did the farm and showed you what we grow and how things are going, we've had so much rain. We had a very dry summer, but it's all making up for it now. Mississippi is getting slammed right now with so much rain. We've had tornadoes. We're now going into cool weather, and it took a toll on all of my turnips. I actually have to pull everything up, and I can choose right now to start over and make a new crop, or I can just wait it out until spring. So you can't control the weather, folks. It is what it is, and this is part of it. You can throw your hands up. There's many times I have honestly done that. Why do I do this? Do I want to keep doing this? But the simple answer is yes. I want those fresh fruits and vegetables. I will take whatever I can get, be thankful in everything. I did get 2 crops out of it, so I cannot complain. I still have time if I wanted to actually grow some more. With lettuce and this, you can do recessive planting and just keep it going. I mean, it just happens that way. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on your farm. Appreciate what it gives you. Your homestead gives you a lot, and then sometimes it only gives you what it can do versus the circumstances that we have. So don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself credit for everything that you can get from it. That is something I've learned to respect this homestead. And I can't expect it to do any more than I can do either. I mean, I can't do everything perfectly, so why should I expect my homestead to give it to me that way too? Nothing in this world is perfect. So I'm hoping what I have said has helped you in the seed category. One of the reasons I went ahead and done everything early, and it's kind of a heads up with many of you who surprised me. Seriously, you surprised me. We are growing stronger than I ever imagined we could. And I love each and every one of you. You're not just YouTube to me. You're not just folks who are subscribing. You are literally family. We're a family of one that not many can understand. So forming this family and this community that we have is absolutely amazing. Thank you all for helping me grow. And Lord, I seriously cannot thank you enough. So one of the basic reasons I started in my experience getting what I can early enough, that's not saying you can get everything you might want, but you can get a huge selection. I had 2 big packs from 2 heirloom companies, which I put in another post of links to. MIGardener.com out of Michigan is a fantastic heirloom company, along with Baker Creek. They are out of Missouri, and their website is Baker Creek Rare Heirloom Seeds. These are fantastic heirloom companies, a good company to save your own seeds and regrow. Germination rates have been fantastic, and I absolutely love them. But the keynote here is between the middle of January, honestly January. February for many of us start our seed growing for spring and summer. So January becomes a very hot buying season in your vegetables. So I generally started between November and December, when it starts the new brassica seasons. Basically, your spring and summers are kind of, but not thought of too much. January is your hot season, so if you can get your seeds now, do so. Also, again, don't overdo what you can do. There's no sense in it. Get what you can get. Even if you go to Walmart, folks, anything that you can do is good for yourself. You don't have to go to the high name brands. You don't have to have an abundance all at once. Do what you can do. Don't put yourself out to do this. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your family. And look, germination rates or not, there's always a chance you can, especially when you're starting early, you have a chance to go ahead and replant again if your germination rate was not to your optimal best. So just know, allow yourself some time, give yourself some credit, take what you can get, because you got to understand, tomatoes, for instance, there is determinants and indeterminants. Your indeterminants are ones that just keep producing over and over. So a small amount can give you a lot. Where your determinants, they are a one-time grow all in one moment plant. So those you may have to replant your seeds if they didn't come out the way you want to. But for the most part, in all of these plants, they give you more than you can actually imagine. So if you tend to for instance, you've got your bush beans. Now, they're another one that will produce a certain amount, and that's it. But if you plant 50 plants, you may end up with more than you can deal with. So go based by what your family enjoys the most, which you will put on your shelf so there's no waste. Plant what suits your family. If you want to help a community, that's fine, but think of you first. You matter, your family matters, and anything extra you can give away, or you can sell if you'd like to. That's totally up to you. But think of your family first and you. So grow what's more adequate for you and your family, what you think would be best. If you're just learning how to do this, experiment. I did in the beginning. I had to experiment what suits us, what would be better for me in canning, how much I would need, and it determined how many plants I would need to do this. Another factor, and many of you have brought this up, and you brought up a very good topic. If you are not able to grow but a small amount, there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to your farmer's market or fresh markets and buying in bulk to come home and can your fruits and vegetables. There is nothing wrong with that. You're still being self-sufficient. You may have to take another route, but you're self-sufficient. So homesteading is not a certain topic. Oh, you have to grow your own vegetables. You have to raise your own meats. No, you do it's best for your family. You do however means it takes for your family to accomplish what you would like to be in a self-sufficient way. If it means you have to go to the farmer's market or the fresh markets to get your produce, do so. There's nothing wrong with that. You are no different from us who grow our own. If you could grow a small crop, use it. Now, I do have to emphasize that not all things are meant to be preserved. Again, I'm learning, and this is totally up to you, your taste. Again, everything is based by your standards, your family, and that's it. I can offer, but it's not up to me. I'm not living your life. So what I've learned in the summer crops, squash, zucchini, and yellow squash, personally, I would enjoy those fresh. I have froze them. I've showed you my examples of why I would choose not to do that. Some things with a very high water content, I prefer to have a fresh on my table. You really cannot, unless some of these you can pickle, you cannot can them either. So take some of these that you would enjoy in the summer, and know they're your seasonal. You can get a good season out of it and a good crop and enjoy it, and then know that we got something to look forward to next season. Many don't know that you can your greens, your turnip greens, your mustard greens, your collard greens. You can absolutely can them. You can buy them in a store in the can. Another aspect is that if you can't grow, if you can't afford the produce, go to your store and Aldi's. Aldi's has become my ultimate favorite store. Find your sales. Take a little bit that week, if you can afford to grab a few extra cans, put them away in your pantry, accumulate it, and it's another form of being self-sufficient for your family come winter. There's nothing wrong with that either. So these are just guidelines. The starting of our season is coming up soon, so I decided to go ahead and get this video out for you. I really do hope and pray this has helped you. If you have any questions or concerns, put them in the comments below. I'll try to reply to you just as soon as I can. I've enjoyed interacting with each and every one of you. God bless you. Thank you for this family, your kind words, your prayers. You folks are absolutely amazing. I love each and every one of you. I love the growing family that we've had. And again, I will try to get a few more videos out for you. Be patient with me. There's a lot I have to do at this moment. So I have, like I said, 2 more I'm wanting to get out at least this week. I try to usually do a video a day for you. And I know as fast as this has grown, blows my mind, but as fast as this has grown, many of you have already caught up. So I'm going to do my best to give you some more. Until then, may God bless you. Love each and every one of you. From Parton's Heritage Homestead, we'll see you again soon. God bless.